welcome to VirtualCon 2014. Right now we have Ed Mason, the founder of GameFace Labs here, who will be speaking about his exciting new virtual reality headset. Hi Mike, or hi Ed. Just to give you guys a little bit of background information about Ed, Ed's background started with stereo gaming back in 2009, where he was obsessed with any and all 3D available. Unimpressed with the lack of high quality content, he created an online 3D video sharing platform called 3Dizzy, allowing users to upload and share stereoscopic 3D videos with 3D playback in browser. His dream was to generate a huge amount of high quality content. Working alongside nVidia, DDD, Sony Worldwide Stereoscopic Team, and other industry leaders, he focused first and foremost on 3D gaming. He then started working with cloud gaming with a view that streaming games themselves in 3D was a significant step above streaming videos of games in 3D. He went on to develop a 3D cloud gaming platform where he showcased a zero latency solution for stereo cloud gaming at ComicCon, the Cloud Gaming Summit, and the EuroGamer Expo in London. From there he put GameFace on and in August 2013 showcased the earliest public prototype of the product, combining the technologies from his past endeavors. And now here he is to talk about all aspects of GameFace Labs, Ed Mason. Welcome, Ed. Hey, Ed, just one second. It seems your mic is low again. Can you turn your mic up, please? Try again, Ed.
Okay, perfect. So yes, I was saying that we have developed an Android-based virtual reality headset, which, unlike your mobile phone encased solutions, is built from the ground up with virtual reality in mind. As such, we are using components that you will not necessarily...
Hey, Ed, just we're having a bit of a difficulty here. Just we're going to go off and call you back, eh? Hi, Ed. We have Ed back here. Can you speak, please, Ed?
Yes, indeed. Is this any better? Can you hear me at all now?
I'm just waiting for confirmation. Give me one sec.
Right.
Okay, well, I think we're good to go ahead.
Okay, perfect. So once again, thank you very much for everyone's time here. I wanted to pick up where I left off. We at GameFace Labs have been developing an Android-based virtual reality headset, which, unlike your head-mounted displays, such as the Oculus Rift and the Project Morpheus, that require a tethered connection to a stationary machine, we have built all of our computing into the device itself. We're presently using components that are not and will never be inside a mobile phone or a tablet to be able to provide that higher VR experience. And we feel that the mobile nature for virtual reality is paramount. This idea that developers are creating 360-degree immersive environments and then restricting you from turning around and enjoying them in all their glory, I think is a little counterproductive to VR. And I also believe we've waited this long for virtual reality to revive. We can wait another few months or so up until we actually have some very comprehensive and robust methods of doing wireless, zero latency PC gaming on all-encased headset. We are trying to tackle a few of the problems that we feel are facing virtual reality today. I touched upon the tethered connection to a stationary machine, and of course there's a huge amount of lack of freedom when you are tethered, especially when you consider using a pair of headphones and then these extra wired peripherals. And we are now nearing the time that we will start seeing some very intuitive user input devices that, again, being based off of an Android operating system, we can provide support to very easily. And today we have been showing off a lot of our hardware. We've been demonstrating most recently our 2.5K VR headset, but there's a lot more to GameFace Labs that people may not be that aware of at the moment. And this is really what we consider to be the bread and butter of our company, and this bases itself on the cloud gaming platform that we've been working on a few years ago. Long story short, we can deliver content in a more secure fashion and between 20 to 100 times faster than your average method of digital distribution, and we can do this effectively without installation, without lag, and of course there's zero latency. I won't go into the details exactly how we do this at the moment because we'll be giving a few demos at CES in the next few months that will be showcasing how the technology works. But nonetheless, it is what we feel is a big enabler for the metaverse for an untethered device, which has limited connectivity to a persistent online connection, or of course the horsepower that one would expect in the storage capacity that you would get in a high-end gaming PC or a console. There are a few reasons why we've chosen mobile. Obviously, the idea that you're having a virtual reality headset on a console is a lovely idea, but of course you are then going to be restricted with the upgradability, if you like, of the hardware within your console. So you will be stuck effectively with the same hardware for the next, say, 5 to 7 years up until the PlayStation 5 were to come out. And again, with the PC-based solutions, yes, there's a lot of innovation happening with PCs, but it's worth considering that, of course, unless you have a lot of money to start spending on a new GPU as and when they come out, you are going to be fairly restricted on the hardware that you're using. And with that in mind, we're seeing some tremendous developments on the mobile hardware side. In fact, more so than we're actually seeing developments on the PC and console. And we are getting every 6 to 8 months, we're seeing a new generation of system on chip evolving and emerging into the market, which is hugely more powerful than its predecessor. The chipsets we're presently playing around with, based on the Snapdragon 800 and above series and the nVidia Tegra K1 or Jetson, as it's also known as, are incredibly powerful SoCs. Today they're benchmarked at about 1.6 times the power of a PlayStation 3 using only 2 watts of power. So it's very indicative of the future of mobile VR. We're seeing a huge amount of innovation very quickly, and these innovations are really best leveraged in virtual reality. This idea that you're having higher resolution display panels coming into mobile phones, you're having faster SoCs, you're having larger storage capacities, all lend themselves very well to virtual reality. And the idea that this headset is going to be purely based on Android is, of course, what we feel it sets us apart, because Android being sort of 85% market share of all devices is a tremendous amount of users to start developing content. And we've seen with the announcement of Google Cardboard in the short space of a 1 weekend after Google I/O, there was about 50,000 developers who'd already downloaded the Google Cardboard VR toolkit and started tinkering with it. And to me, this is awesome because, of course, the content generation rate on Android is huge. With that in mind, we now have a lot of people turning their eyes to both Android and virtual reality as a perfect pair. We have been working, as touched upon earlier on, with a lot of the main chaps, nVidia, Qualcomm, that being said, Google as well. We've been on and off working sort of around to get some very low-level support on an Android operating system, which brings us to our next stage for GameFace. Of course, we will be developing our developer kit, which we're aiming to show off publicly for the first time at CES, where we have drastically reduced the size and the form factor of the device, back to something on par to our early prototype, the Mark IV. This is something that will still retain the 2.5K resolution. It will still have the latest SoCs, but the form factor and the weight will be down to a little under half of what it is today in the Mark V. It's some very exciting times. I mean, we're seeing over the past few months alone, we've had a huge amount of interest in virtual reality in the ecosphere, and I think to date there are probably about 25 VR hardware companies that are tailor-making their actual headsets, be it a tethered HMD or an HMD that you slide a mobile phone into. We are seeing in a very short amount of time a huge amount of these guys coming in. That being said, we feel that Android will be the best platform for them to work on, and as such we've been working with the likes of Google to bring about an of the Android operating system that is really targeted towards providing an immersive and an intuitive method of control for the Android-based content. I don't know if anyone may have seen, but we did at the SVVR meetup not too long ago showcased our user interface that we're in the process of tweaking in time for our dev kit, but it's effectively a virtual environment that we've taken from the Ready Player One concept of the basement. And this is effectively a virtual environment that you can put your game face on, and you can then look around and you will look at various aspects within the environment, and simply by looking at them, that will then activate the application, the game, or the demo. This is something that we know that the simplicity is really paramount to users, and we don't want to have to make people start fiddling around. We want this to be a solution that works straight out of the box. And we've been working very hard to be able to produce a simple and immediate gratification method of VR content delivery. And we do have some very exciting things on the horizon that will be announced in the next week. I'm afraid I can't say too much about it now, but rest assured, I'm sure you will hear of it very soon. So yes, I'm just having a look over my notes to make sure I'm not missing out anything. Bear with me one moment. And those that are not that aware, the PC gaming industry, if you will, is still relatively niche when you consider the overall amount of interest for gaming as an entire genre. With that in mind, those people that want to explore using PC virtual reality also need to have a very expensive computer. And so we feel, while obviously the GameFace Mark V wouldn't provide the same experience as, let's say, a £2,000 computer would on an Oculus Rift, we do feel that we can leverage the best of the hardware that we are using to still produce a very immersive, portable virtual reality experience. And of course, there will certainly be applications that are better suited towards what we are doing, rather than trying to sort of compete with people like Oculus and Sony who are making full-on, awesome AAA content. That being said, we do have a lot of GameFace exclusive content that will be coming out very soon, and this is content that will be more used for portability. For instance, we have virtual cinemas that you can put on and you can explore around, and you can sit down in a big virtual room and sit down and watch a movie on a virtual big screen. More than that, we have some very cool augmented reality applications as well that effectively allow you to render artificial elements inside a real-life environment. So there are certainly aspects that we feel the GameFace hardware will be more suitably used towards than the PC-based. And of course, we are really looking at this mobile, this portable nature, which we feel is the direction that all technology is moving in. And so, long story short, I think that's a good sort of snippet as to what we have been up to over the past year and a half. And Colin, I would say if there are any questions, shoot away.
Hi, thanks a lot, Ed. That was awesome. That was very insightful, and it seems like you have a really good roadmap for your product. First question: do you plan on expanding your the amount of platforms you're on? You know, just not mobile. Do you plan on expanding to PS4 or Xbox? Do you see a market there for your product, or are you going to leave that more? Oh, yep.
I would say that we're not really aiming to cater to x86 at the moment, solely because obviously you have Oculus doing a tremendous job on the PC front, and of course Sony are about to be doing a very similar job on the console front. As such, we've carved out a lovely niche for ourselves, being the only all-encased Android-based headset, and we would like to be a master of one trade rather than a jack of all trades. So we're really focusing on the mobile architecture and the mobile side of creating a portable virtual reality experience.
And that in mind, what about the iOS? Do you feel like you'll expand to that, or is it just strictly going to be Android, just one jack of all trade?
No, so we are certainly, we are, Apple are awesome, of course, but we are very much against closed systems. Another reason, obviously, for choosing Android is the openness, the amount of content creation, and the innovation that you see on the software side of things in Android is awesome. I came from a background of hacking and tweaking and jailbreaking phones, and I would sit back in awe as I would see some awesome apps come out on Cydia that then, sure enough, for the next official iOS update had been carted up and appled up and added into firmware. And it really goes to show that it's this ability to innovate very quickly that is the way forward. And using Android, of course, you can then see the most incredible innovations popping out faster than you would be able to with any closed system. And so certainly, we do have an idea about the iOS, and of course with the Google VR toolkit now working with iOS as well, we feel that there will be a huge amount of devices that will leverage using an iPhone as the phone-in-case type solution. So certainly, what we are doing is really targeted for Android to provide the very best user experience and intuitive method of control for VR on an Android device.
And how much does the device weigh? Cramming everything into it, wouldn't that seem to make it a bit heavier? Is it heavier, or?
Could you repeat that again, please?
Yes. How much does the device weigh? It seems like cramming all that hardware into one package. It seems like it would be heavy. Is your device heavy at all?
So the Mark V, I will admit, is heavy, yes. That being said, we have made some drastic improvements to the overall design of the next GameFace, the Mark VI, or the dev kit that will be showing off at CES. I cannot give you an exact weight on that yet, I'm afraid, but certainly as soon as we go to the public and we can explain a little more about the revised design, you should begin to understand exactly the direction we're moving in and how we've managed to reduce the form factor and the weight for the device that you're wearing on your face.
Can you reveal a price range yet for your product?
We are, this is nothing official, but we're aiming for around the $450 to $500 mark. We've recently partnered up with some pretty big chaps that will be able to help us achieve that even more realistically in a faster time frame. So that being said, we're really aiming at around the kind of price you'd look to spend on a high-end mobile phone is really what we're trying to aim for with our device.
And how is the battery life?
As it stands, we're using a 42 milliampere battery. We get between 4.5 to 5 hours continual gameplay on the 2.5K display panel, depending on the screen brightness and, of course, the application that you're using. That being said, we are changing the battery power again. I can't tell you exactly what we're moving towards yet, but we are improving and optimizing the gameplay time on the device that we'll be showing off at CES.
Okay, and for the audio, is it surround sound?
So yes, we do 5.1 at the moment. We're doing some pretty cool experiments with binaural audio as well. This is something that we'll be exploring a little bit more after CES once we have dev kits in the hands of those skillful chaps who are working their magic with binaural audio.
Oh, that sounds amazing. Can you give us any insight onto some of the features you have in mind in the next, let's say, 1 or 2 years, or even a little further, like features you're really excited about that you'll be incorporating into your virtual reality headset?
So first and foremost, I touched upon is our cloud distribution network, and this is something that we've been working on since about 2010, and we've now ported across to Android. And this is the idea that we no longer need to download 100% of the game and then update the game before you can start playing it. Instead, we can download between 1 to 5% of the game and allow you to start playing as though 100% of the game is locally installed. Of course, you will be able to continue downloading the remainder of the game if you so wish, and you can cache it for offline gameplay. But if you are somewhere with a Wi-Fi connection or you could tether your 3G mobile phone connection, then there's no reason for you to keep 100% of the game files installed. And with this in mind, that obviously allows you to then reduce the amount of storage space taken up by individual applications. And instead of having a 32 gig storage device, provided you're online, we can then emulate well over a terabyte space off of that. So effectively, if you are online, you could have these small partials of between 1 to 5% of each and every game that you wanted to play, and you'd have between 20 to 100 times the amount of games on one storage device that you'd usually have. Now, with that in mind, we are doing some very clever magic to be able to ensure that this is effectively completely piracy-free. This is something that we are using military-grade encryption technology to ensure that the files themselves are never truly installed on the device. Instead, they are virtualized on the device from a cloud server that we are obviously in control of. And bearing in mind the fact that we have live control over the servers that are sending the gaming content to the individual devices, we can now offer developers an unparalleled level of insight into how their games are being played. We can tell the developers how their levels are ending, or how users are getting stuck at one area, or if the boss is too hard. And this is information that's very valuable to developers, but up until this method of cloud distribution has been practically impossible to get feedback off of. So I think first and foremost, that is really the most exciting thing that GameFace will be showing off in the next few months.
Okay, awesome. And do you have anything in mind, such as it working with something like Chromecast to stream to a TV? Like, what is the user seeing, if it's possible?
Yes, I mean, certainly, you always have issues with latency when you're doing pixel streaming, and this is something that today we already have HDMI out, so if you so wish to see what someone was using while it's thoroughly against our ethos, you could today plug in HDMI and plug it into a TV and experience what the user's viewing. With that in mind, Miracle's technology is coming along very well, and we are working with a few chaps to try and explore these wireless HDMI streaming without adding a few $100s onto the actual kit. There are some very cool features you can do today, which is more the opposite of viewing what's on the device, but where if you have a very powerful NVIDIA-based GPU over a GTX 6 or above, coupled with a Tegra K1 or a Tegra 4 or one of these later Tegra-based SoCs, then you can achieve relatively low latency pixel streaming if you have a powerful enough router. And this is based similar on the Shield streaming technology that you may have seen on the little Shield game console.
Very cool. And how does it network? Is it Wi-Fi only, or does it support 4G LTE chip card or anything other?
No, there's no cards or anything. It is Wi-Fi only, but of course you are able to tether your mobile device directly to GameFace and share the internet connection that way around.
Okay. And some people have been noticing that the strap comes close to the ears. Have you considered making a unified headset that not only provides virtual reality visual, but also audio experience in one headset?
It's really an awesome suggestion, and we have actually been exploring a few ideas that would incorporate having headphones attached either directly to the strap or embedded within the strap. So this is something that, yes, by the time we have the consumer version going out, these straps initially will not be directly over the ears, but they will certainly accommodate headphones while trying to minimize the amount of cables you have hanging off of you.
Okay, awesome. If anyone else has any other questions, you can PM me or throw that into local. Ed, thanks a lot for speaking. It's very insightful, and thank you so much for coming to VirtualCon.
Thank you very much for having me. It's truly exciting stuff, and I look forward to seeing how everything progresses from here. It's an exciting time to be in VR.
Awesome. All right, just to let everyone know, we have a panel at 2 p.m. On virtual reality in the lecture hall. Stick around if you want to learn more about these cool products and about virtual reality headsets. Keeping that in mind, I hope everyone enjoys themselves at VirtualCon, and I'm excited to see where this goes.
Thank you very much, Colin, and everyone enjoy VirtualCon. See you soon. Take care.
All right, take care, Ed. Bye.